Hi everyone, and welcome to Worth the Calories, a Great British Bake Off podcast. The votes are in, and they've been counted, and Catherine Vose is the birthday elect of this podcast.
Hurrah!
So I want everyone on Twitter, on Instagram, to go and wish happy birthday at KendoKat, KendoKat. Everyone to go and do that, and even if it's 2023, and you've just found the found Bake Off and podcast.
It doesn't quite work unless people listen to this on the day it's released, right?
I think it works any day. I think happy birthday wishes are nice to receive all year round.
Fair enough.
Good.
I agree.
80s week.
80s week, yes.
Yeah. A fairly open category theme.
Yes. I mean, were all of these things that you were, if you'd just seen them independently, you'd have gone, oh, that's a bit 80s?
I'm not sure. Quiche, no. Quiche, I feel like, is a much older
and also,
thing.
it's something people still eat, right? It's just like a staple. It's a food stuff.
Yeah, so...
And I must admit, I don't remember being given many ice cream cakes during the 80s.
No. Well, we'll come to ice cream cakes, because that is at least an interesting one.
Yes.
I can see that, yes, it would be... something you can start serving people, because you can assume people have freezers and you can do interesting things by combining them, as well as the technology to bring it all together.
Yeah.
Because that's the point of the development of all the foods, as we've done different themes over the seasons of different eras, because technology changes and they become more capable of putting things together and
True.
And
True.
serving them and storing them and shipping them and all the other paraphernalia around it. Viennetta would have been the one, but I feel like they've had a chocolate layer ice cream cake before.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Viennetta is something that one really needs machinery to make
Possibly.
in a factory.
Possibly.
I don't know.
But chocolate layer ice cream cake.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have a baked ingredient, so it couldn't be used here. Anyway, quiches.
I like quiche more than you.
You like quiche. You like quiche is the first thing that overcomes that. Which is a good challenge, actually. They've done pork pies and they've done curries in the past. They've done interesting pies. Quiche is an actual thing, and I feel like we've probably done it before on Bake Off. Maybe as a technical, maybe in an early season.
And arguably, a quiche is just a savoury tart.
Yes.
They've already done tarts this season.
Yes,
but
the filling is quite different.
True.
Not just in terms of you serve it with bacon and mushroom and stuff.
Yeah.
But because it's this egg consistency rather than sweet, it's cream and sugar and so on.
Yeah.
Any of the quiches worth mentioning?
It was interesting going through them and seeing which ones I fancied eating. I'd have eaten both of her means.
Okay.
I think they both look very tasty, very straightforward.
So salmon and leek and spinach and mushroom.
Yeah, they're both things you'd expect to see on a menu somewhere, and they both look like they'd be done incredibly well.
Yeah.
So those I'd have happily eaten. This has become the What Would Catherine Eat podcast. Everything.
But she chose good flavours that do well, and then did them well.
I was about to say, she's just more and more is coming out as being incredibly competent, and it's quite interesting to see who does and doesn't get screen time.
Yeah,
because I feel like she's getting more screen time because there's fewer people to film, and that she's just incredibly competent and just gets on with stuff.
Yeah, after last week saying, I feel like she might be one of the next to go, you're absolutely right. When you watch her, you go, do you know, she just gets on with it, which might not stand her in good stead in a week where other people have flair and no one has a crisis, and she doesn't necessarily add the, and I've served it with this thing, or I've done double the amount you wanted or something. But she clearly bakes incredibly well.
And I think her flavours are well balanced in a very skilled way.
Yes.
It's not necessarily something that's like experimental Heston Blumenthal type cooking, but she knows what she's doing, she knows what flavours works.
Absolutely.
I would probably happily eat anything she produced.
Yeah, because she's not doing the, I have a Caribbean background, so everything is going to have Caribbean flavours, or I've studied French cooking, so everything is going to have an element of French cooking. She's just doing, well, this works, I'm going to do that.
Yes.
And it's working for her. So great, good luck to her.
Was it Peter that did the one with the crab?
I think so.
I was
Yes,
interested in
yeah,
as well. But I mean, I love crab.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, I can't remember what the other flavors were
So
because
the ones that stand out in my memory were, is it Dave who did sausages?
yes,
And Lottie who did fry up.
yes. So those two, I was just like,
I'm not sure it works as a quiche. It's a great idea and probably would have been the ones I would have picked if I'd had to. But the point of a quiche is it's a little more delicate, a little more...
And I'm with Prue. Like, the idea of having scrambled eggs inside an egg custard.
Yeah, right.
The texture is just going to feel like something went wrong with the egg custard.
Yeah.
I fully agree with Sue there. Prue.
Prue.
And also, baked beans don't make anything better, apart from cheesy beans on a jacket potato. Then they're acceptable.
And I would argue for corned beef hash. Yeah, I would have foregone the beans, certainly on Lottie's, and done a fried egg on top.
Yeah.
Fried them as the last thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I can't even remember what Mark did.
I can't remember what Mark did. Was it last week that Laura did a thing with special sausages, or was it this one? Where she used Italian spicy sausage?
I don't know, but didn't she do a pizza one for this as well?
Yeah, so I think she might have done that because she did a whole thing about I serve these on pizzas at home because of their nice pizza oven.
So yeah, I think a decent signature because once again, it's like the pasties.
Yeah.
It's here's a base.
Yep.
Now you put your flavour spin on it. Which I guess it seems to be the theme for signature. I mean, I don't know if it's always been the theme for signatures, and I've only just cottoned on. But that seems to be quite a theme with this season's signatures.
Yeah, it feels less prescriptive.
Yeah.
Which is good, I think.
Yeah.
I think a very good thing. I just feel like quiches are not a very big canvas with which to paint your signature.
Especially when you're coming at it from the perspective of someone who would eschew quiche wherever possible.
So, jam and custard donuts.
Yes.
This is a good technical.
Yeah.
I like it because it has lots of different elements, because it's making your own jam, making an interesting cream custard. It's not just something very standard in the middle. There's the presentation aspect of them, the way they look at the end, and then there's the deep fat frying of them.
Yeah.
So it's all good. We have never done a deep fat fried technical before.
We have not.
We don't have a deep fat fryer in the first place, and we've been fairly scared of them. But I tried this one.
Dum, dum, dum.
In a worth the calories first.
In a spoiler, we're both here, we're both alive, and neither of us are burned.
Yeah, I still have my eyebrows, which is the thing I was worried about, So a really interesting one. Making the dough. It talked about the dough will still be sticky, but I think I had too much milk when I added the liquid. I think I maybe should have pulled back a little bit because it was such a strange consistency because it was so close to being a batter, but with traits of being a dough.
Yeah, there was no way that was going to knead into something that was actually workable at that point.
Yeah, it was a Venom-like mess for our Marvel comic book fans. All over my hands, frankly.
I'm just impressed you managed to get all the way upstairs to ask me to come down and help with the flour without spraying sticky dough all the way through the house.
I mean, I had shouted up to try to avoid that fact, but
I had the door closed. The sewing machine was
very
going.
Loud, No, so you added more flour for me.
Yep.
And we evened it out, so I was able to knead it.
Yep.
And then actually put it on. I didn't put it on a board this time. I put it on my rolling board, my rolling mat. With a bit of flour underneath it, and it absolutely was still sticky. Yeah, as I was doing it, but to a consistent that I could peel it up and knead it, get it really elastic, really really silky. Prove it for however long I proved it for, 45 minutes I think. Double in size, cut it into all the things, shaped the things, proved it again for half an hour, and then heated a litre of vegetable oil in a very large pan and dunked them in. So this was probably the most difficult bit of the whole thing. Making the cream was interesting because it was kind of make a custard and then combine it with dairy products. That was interesting. Making the jam was making a jam. Reminded me of making them for wagon wheels and me overheating the jam again. So it becomes really, really thick.
Yeah.
But fine, it is what it is. So, the thing that I always forget with bread and proving it is the shape that you shape it in and let it prove to and then bake it to is the shape it becomes.
Right.
Whereas with a batter, again, because it's looser, and less viscous, more runny, it will even out to a standard shape.
Right.
It will fill the container it goes in because it's that much more liquid, whereas a bread dough won't. So my donuts are all funny shapes because I rolled them out to a rough sort of 15 centimetre finger shape and then put them to the side, thinking, and now it will settle down. And I need to remember, no, it doesn't. You need to get the shape right at that point.
Just gets bigger in that shape.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you have knobbly bobbly donuts, they're just going to be bigger knobbly bobbly donuts.
Exactly. That is 100% what they look like. So that's my thing to remember. Fine. Heating the oil was difficult because it's a very large pan of oil. You have to heat it. So it got to 180 degrees and then I started putting them in.
Yep.
But I think 180 degrees on the temperature means there's still heat going in, and by the time you're cooking them, it's then even hotter.
Right.
I think the first ones I cooked at 200 plus. I
Right.
think the oil was not far off boiling, and oil boils at about 230. So, because I'm sure there were little bubbles at the bottom of the thing.
Can you hear the
Yeah, right.
palpitations from over here on the microphone as I'm thinking about that in our kitchen?
A lovely new hob. But I was...
Oh, my lovely husband and my kittens. That's what I'm thinking about.
Oh yeah, they stayed away from this.
Good,
Yeah, hot
good.
oily kitchen. They were not coming near. So, put the first ones in, and they cooked on the outside really quickly. It said for 3 minutes until golden brown. And I'm
Right.
like, it's been 20 seconds and they're dark brown, so I'm going to flip them over now. So the first one's only probably got a minute
Right.
or so, and are very dark. We've not actually tried them yet,
No.
but I suspect they will just be tougher. The good thing is when I cut them open, they are pretty much totally baked.
Yep.
Slightly when you press them, the indentation stays there a bit, but I'm comfortable with that. The second ones, I cooled it down by that point. I actually took a second off. I took the oil off the hob for a bit, let it cool a bit, got it back to saying 180, cooked them, but they still cooked faster than I would have wanted them to.
Yeah.
So they're still a bit dark than I would
wonder
want.
if this is the benefit of actually having a purpose-made deep fat fryer, that it will get the oil
Absolutely.
to a temperature and then hold it at that temperature.
That's what I
consistently.
think. I think you tell it what temperature you want it to be.
And then it will. And then
Yeah,
it will make
a good
make
one,
it be
presumably.
so.
Exactly. Make it be so.
Okay, we could buy one if it sort of quoted Jean-Luc Picard at
If
us.
it quoted Picard wrong, yes, we could absolutely have it.
Oh, close enough.
So, the last ones, I let it cool down even more. Did the last ones, and they got almost the full time. Not quite, but they
Yeah.
are much more golden brown, much more cooked through properly. So that was okay. Let them cool, rolled them in caster sugar, sliced them open, put the cream in, put the jam on, and we ate them.
And very tasty.
And they're very tasty. And they taste like a donut.
Yeah. Who doesn't want a donut for breakfast on a Sunday? Done.
It was interesting how even the smell of the heated oil made me think of donuts.
Yeah.
So clearly that's just... I can remember a Sussex company called Rising Dough, who used to do things like the South of England show. And they might be more outside of Sussex, but I remember from the South of England show doing hot donuts out of a van. And that smell just made me think of that thing.
There always used to be a mini donut van on Rochdale High Street.
Oh, nice.
And you could get 5 mini donuts for £1.
Wow,
And-
amazing.
And if you smiled at them, they gave you 6. So, that's...
Oh, the treasures of being a girl, frankly.
Oh, fair
Yeah.
But yes, I used to, if I had a spare £1 when I was out shopping, or if me and my friends had
Lots of 20p's between you, yeah.
Sharing a bag of mini donuts
Amazing.
was
Nice.
very pleasant.
Yes, yeah, so I was pleased with how they tasted. The dough is a little tough, but I think it's meant to be. Because they're not sort of normal round donuts that you pipe the jam into. They're more like a bun.
Yeah,
So-
there's a definite substance to them, but I don't think that's... I think, as you said, I think that's purposeful.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yes.
yeah, I was quite pleased. I'm
good.
very pleased it came out. I think it's making me think, yes, we could do these in future.
I thought the cream was interesting, because on its own, I was a bit like,
Bit lackluster.
not sure about that.
Yeah,
There's a little bit too much of the butter flavour in this.
right.
But then with the jam and with the donut, worked perfectly. And I guess that's partly, because obviously butter on bread is good. So like sugary half butter, half cream stuff on a fairly robust donut that's sort of half bread roll, half cake.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that
Because there's no
work?
cream in it. It's whole milk.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
it's
Right,
heavy
okay.
consistency milk,
Yeah.
but it's not cream, which was interesting.
Oh, that is interesting.
And it does. When you have it with the donut, it makes me think of things like the Tesco's custard donuts,
Right.
stuff like that. It's got that flavour to it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's good. Well done, honey.
I was quite pleased with them. I can't remember how anyone did. I think they all largely did them. It just depended on how they baked them and the consistency of everything.
I think some people made theirs a darker consistency than others.
Yeah, Lottie definitely did.
I don't remember anyone having a total disaster.
No, I think, jam and cream came out to different consistencies and stuff, but
yeah,
time pressures and not having all the instructions.
Yeah, but also we're now getting down to some very good bakers.
Yeah, who have done this stuff, who have practiced it. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay, so our final was a day that was 30 plus degrees, one of the hottest days ever.
And I do remember those hot days.
Absolutely. And they had to make ice cream cake.
Disaster.
Absolute disaster for everyone.
Yes.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And like they said, they didn't know that was what it was going to be, and it is always the risk you take, and you don't know how the weather's going to turn out. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more flex with, right, everyone's got their ice creams in the freezer, we're going to give you half an hour, you can't continue baking and prepping, but you can all come away for half an hour, have a cup of tea, and then come back to it. And just give them that, we're going to give you a chance to let it set.
Exactly.
But that wasn't shown. Whether it happens or not, we don't know. You just would appreciate a little bit more flex than we get.
I suppose that there is that sort of duality, though, of in terms of the minds of the producers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want the entertainment value of a disaster, or do you want to give them a fair chance?
Oh, yeah.
Because, thinking about it, every summer there's a hot day.
Right.
So they'll have been planning what the 10 weeks were, like March.
Oh, yeah, at least, if not now, for next season.
Do you think they sat there when they decided to do ice cream cakes and went, oh, I really hope it's a cool day so that they'll all get their ice creams out? Or do you think they went, wouldn't it be great if it was really hot and we really ramped up the dramatic tension because of the heat?
This is the line that I think Bake Off tries to walk between being what the international market particularly likes about it. Everyone's helping each other. It's really friendly. It's good people doing good things for no reward, basically. Yes. They're doing it because they love doing that thing. Yeah. And that sells the show. That is what people love about the show. Except I think certainly the UK audience does love Bingate and Ice Cream Gate and all of this sort of thing. So, and I'm not sure which side of the line it came this week because it was so hot. It was so hot. It was one of the hottest days ever.
It was repulsively hot. I remember sitting in this very room with the fans on.
Right.
And I'm not even sure if we could have the windows open. I don't know if it was pre or post kitten acquisition. I think it must have been post kitten acquisition.
Post, yeah.
But maybe before the little kitten decided she could get out of the small
exactly.
top
So we
windows.
probably had some windows
open.
Because there was a time they couldn't jump up on the sides like they do now and shred everything. But fine.
Yes. And actually, there was a point during that summer where we stopped opening the windows because the air outside was hotter than the air inside the house.
So
it was grim.
So I think I would have liked to have seen it this week, but fine. We are where we are. So everyone had a disaster. Some people came off better than others, depending on what they'd chosen.
Yes.
And some people remembered to turn their ice cream maker on.
Yes. So let's think, who did what? Ermine did that beautiful, simple mango ice cream cake with the channels, which looked really, really effective. Yeah. Quietly, calmly got on with it, so we hardly saw her.
Not the grandest showstopper.
No.
In those terms, but it absolutely worked, and hers was the one that came off.
Yes.
So well done her.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And her as star baker this week, fully earned.
100%.
Just totally competent throughout the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. And I like her. Again, it's nice to see good people doing something good that they like doing.
Yeah,
that is good TV.
Lovely,
that is the TV we want for 2020.
And it brought a tear to my eye when her son at the end said he was proud of her. I was just like, yes, that's what you want to see.
Exactly. Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah. Mark did a retro ice cream parlour.
Mark's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that came out really nicely.
Extravagant, and also none of it was a complete disaster.
No.
And there was bits where some of his ice cream bits were a little bit melty, but he just dealt with it.
Yeah. And that looked like a showstopper. That was an impressively put together thing, so well done him.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we had Laura doing her Death by Chocolate.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
Which was a disaster of her own making.
Yes.
And not the first time she'd had wheelchair. I think Noel said it. You know, she is consistently having problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Lottie lost it rather than Laura saved herself this week.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Because, because Lottie was a disaster as well. Lottie was a disaster. Lottie's was a design disaster.
Yes.
Like, why would you put your ice cream on the outside?
On a cooler day, it might have come off. But at some point, she should have gone, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
I need to bake the outside. I need to switch the tins I use.
Yeah.
And the tin I use for the ice cream is going to now be the tin for my sponge.
Yeah.
But
I think Lottie would still be with us if the judges had enjoyed the taste of the stuff that she'd made.
Well, this is my problem with it, because they talked about the way Laura had put brownie in her Death by Chocolate.
Yeah.
And frozen brownie was never going to be a winner.
Mm.
So I think not only did she make a fundamental mistake that meant her cake was never going to come out well,
yeah,
she made a mistake in the design and planning of it.
So maybe they're both even there.
Maybe both even there.
In terms of the design
and whilst,
and
yes, the
planning.
flavour would have been okay, certainly the way it was portrayed, I can understand why Lottie went.
Yeah.
And, you know, she did not have a good week. But I feel very sad. And it's a bit like when Rowan didn't leave and Mac did leave. And I felt like that was the wrong choice, because I would have wanted to see the other person and what they could have done. I don't see Laura lasting in this competition. I think I said that last week as well.
No, and some of what Lottie has produced lent me towards thinking that she was going to be in the final three and possibly taking, she's got some real...
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying that Laura hasn't got skill, it's just Lottie seems to have a higher aesthetic and a higher...
Yeah, I'd agree.
So I was surprised that she went. I was saddened that she went. I think, judged on the competition as a whole, I felt Lottie was a stronger contender than Laura. Judged on that day, and just what we were seeing of the judging,
right,
I think they made the right decision.
Okay.
Just on that day alone. But there's not much in it.
Yeah, it is really close on it. And like I say, it's my feeling of even the idea of the video cassette, which didn't come off, was more interesting than I'm making a Death by Chocolate cake. So. Yeah, it's a shame.
It is a shame.
But it is what it is. We get Laura next week as well.
Yep.
Talk to me about Christmas cake, particularly the ice cream you made.
I didn't make the ice cream from the Christmas cake.
Did you not?
No.
I thought it was that one.
No, it was
which one did you make?
It was one of the one with the stripes on the outside. It was from Mark's.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I got the recipes the wrong way around.
Yeah,
right.
that's okay. But we should still talk about the Christmas cake one, because that looked really tasty.
Really good idea, because ice cream cake sort of thing at Christmas is a very good idea.
Yeah, and
So-
my family have made it a number of years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like my mum and my sister have made it a number of times. I think it was a South African recipe
Okay.
that my mum got it like many, many years back when she first made it.
Nice.
So their flavours I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, tasty good.
Great. Okay. Sorry. So.
That's okay. So what I made was one of the ice creams from Mark's Cake.
Right.
Because so I looked at the recipe online. I was like, maybe I could do this really, really big, impressive cake. But it would take me a full day.
Yeah.
And it's my birthday weekend.
And it's your birthday
and
weekend.
I want to do sewing and
And we have
knitting as
other
well.
things to eat in the house.
We have a lot of food in the house. Thank you, love. So what I decided was, rather than doing the whole thing... Also, we actually don't have the room in the freezer
No, there is that.
to deal with the
right.
chilling of an ice cream cake. So what I decided, I'd do one of the ice creams. Because I've got quite into making ice cream
You
this
did
summer.
indeed. It was good.
We've got one of those ice cream makers where you freeze the bowl.
Churner.
So it's churner. So it's not as posh as the ice cream makers they were using on the show, which freeze the ice cream as well as churn it. I've got a lovely one that you got me when we moved in here, where you freeze the bowl in the freezer for at least 24 hours, and then it sort of just stirs it for the initial sort of churn. So I did the honey and hazelnut ice cream. It's quite tasty.
It is quite tasty.
It's quite tasty.
Yes.
It's not like amazing tasty, but it's quite tasty.
Yeah.
So I made it so you have to melt some butter And then you mix that in with your chopped hazelnuts and some honey.
Mm-hmm.
And then you spread that out in a layer and bake it in the oven for 8 minutes.
Okay, so the honey flavour is in the hazelnuts.
So there's honey flavour in both the hazelnuts and in the ice cream.
Okay.
And then separately, you mix together some cream, some milk, and some honey, and you let that chill. And then that forms the base of the ice cream, so that just gets churned.
Nice.
And then once your hazelnuts honey toasted mixture cools down a bit, you add that in just at the end of the churning. So
Right.
it's actually really
Just to mix in.
Just to mix it. It's really very straightforward.
Okay.
The thing that surprised me was quite how much salt was in it. So
Yeah.
the salt is in the... I forgot about that. The salt is in with the hazelnuts and the honey that you toast. So there's 10 grams of salt flakes.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I put in.
Ah.
And I tried the hazelnuts separately. I was like, oh, they're a bit salty.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, fine. Maybe it'll balance out when they go in the ice cream. And it kind of does. Still a bit salty.
I after a couple of spoons of it, the salt is the sort of persistent flavour of it.
Yes.
The hazelnuts are nice. The ice cream flavour is nice. The honey gets lost a little, I think. I don't know if that's the salt overpowering it or...
I suppose there's two things here.
Go on.
One, we had lots of honey, just normal honey in the cupboard. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy any more honey. At least I thought I wasn't going to buy any more honey. Maybe I did, who knows. But I just used the honey that was in the cupboards. But the recipe says wildflower honey. Don't know if wildflower honey is tastes different to normal honey. So I just used normal honey. But I did use proper posh salt flakes because like, well, we don't have any salt flakes.
Right.
So maybe there's super salty salt flakes? Don't know.
Double sodium salt flakes or something.
But actually, I think what it is it's probably not fair to judge that as an item on its own because the recipe has it designed to be eaten in combination, almost as an ingredient in combination with lots of different jams and
there's
cake and stuffs.
There's also butterscotch and pecan ice cream.
Yeah.
Chocolate tuile and Joconde sponge.
Yeah.
Chocolate Joconde on the outside, poached pears, and blackberry mousse.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing much salt in the rest of it.
So maybe that's the So there you go.
If any, in fact. So I wonder if this is carrying the salt flavour that would help balance out the sweetness of the rest of them.
Possibly.
So,
So apologies for my laziness in not making all of those things.
Triple ice cream, and striped chocolate.
And not buying a new freezer that would accommodate an ice cream cake. And B, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on the salty hazelnut ice cream.
And I think if we put some, like a chocolate sauce on top, or we put it, because we've got a lot of pineapple left, because I made a pineapple cake from Laura's Upside Down Pineapple Cake. We've got a lot of strawberries left from my jam. We put it with things like that, I think it will help overcome it.
Yes. Nice. We'll eat it.
Absolutely.
Don't worry.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of fruit to go with it.
In this
I think it has come out really nicely. I think the ice cream flavour is good. I think the
Yeah.
texture was good.
And I must say, it was a lot easier than the ice creams I was making over the summer,
Right.
because it didn't require me to make a custard first. And whilst I still, I like a custard and I enjoyed the ice creams we had over the summer, this took so much less time.
Yeah.
Like, mix milk and cream together. Wang it in the ice cream churner.
Well, these are the ones to look out for the recipes for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, shame that Lottie went.
Yeah, sad.
It'd be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of weeks, because are we up to week 7 now? Week 8?
Week
Something
7.
like that?
Week 7.
So
who have we got left? We've got Laura, Peter,
Peter, Dave,
Mark. So just 5 of them left.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe. We've probably forgotten someone. Sorry?
Who? Oh, right. Fair
No, there isn't a baker called Sorry. I can't even remember what next week was. I just remembered them having lots of accidents of dropping things and things all going wrong.
Well,
which we've seen on the preview, and we will see on the preview into the episode, and we'll see during the episode as well, and we'll probably see on the end of the episode too.
I look forward to it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Don't forget to wish Catherine a happy birthday at KendoCat on Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to look us up on Instagram for our pictures of our bakes at Eloquent Gushing. And if you want to get in touch with us, at Eloquent Gushing on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all the places where you can send us messages. Tell us what you think of all the different bakes people are doing. Tell us what you're trying out.
Show us your bakes.
Exactly. We will be back next week with some more exciting baking.
We will.